It was funny. I switched over to the YouTube channel just to make sure where the sound was coming from. Turned out it was like YouTube, and it was actually this because it's like it's got a bit of a delay. So welcome. I'm waiting for my boys to turn up because one's in Sweden, it's around midnight, and one's in America, and I think the Italian guy, I think he's you know he's not going to show up because his language is bad. I mean, English is bad, and I understand that my English is bad sometimes as well. I mumble a lot, so not everybody wants to be on screen. But just going to be waiting for the guys. But while we're doing that, I'm going to show you one of the craziest things, right, about this. And sorry for segueing real quickly, is that this thing got approved very quickly because I'd been in touch with the team since February, because this was supposed to start in like close to February, and we lost our colorist, and so I had to get a new colorist, so that delayed it. And then also decided to go to 3 languages, not doing anything simple here at Punch Comics. So that meant that like now I had to do 3 times the work, and not only that, I had to get my translators on board, to do the work as well. So my artist got jumped in and said, yeah, okay, we'll do Portuguese. And oh, wait, do you guys speak Portuguese in Brazil or Argentina? So all that, yeah, trying to work out all the confusion that comes with being, we're doing something like that. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to put shops, some of the covers while the guys come. So this is the 3 covers that we're doing, and they're only, kind of available in this form for those languages. So you got the English, this one here, which is the original cover by interior artist Francesco Conte. I don't know why I have a problem with people remembering people's names. Too many head injuries. That's the only thing I can put it down to. And then you've got, of course, our the one that I actually colored. This is the artwork by Tomas Roter, TC, and that's the Spanish version, and he's translating that at the moment. He's done a page or 2, and then we're going to do the rest of it while we run the campaign, because he's been busy doing the Tortoise manga. So he's working on the manga itself. He's on issue 2 now. He's doing all the characters and stuff, and then we're going to carry on, take a break and do the translation, then go back to doing the artwork. Translation takes a while because it means I got to send it across. And the way I kind of try to do it, make it easy, go to Google Translator, translate, take copy, paste, send it over, and that makes it a bit easier. That kind of cuts down like about 1/3 of the time. And then they'll translate it into a understandable Spanish language, right, or Portuguese language, so that when the locals read it, it's not all different dialects, because, as you know, everybody's got different dialects. Like India's the worst, and then of course you got China, which is with Cantonese and Mandarin, and then of course if you go across Asia, some of them speak Mandarin, some of them speak Cantonese, depending on what area and where they're from, right? And the dialects usually, you can kind of tell people, where they're from by the dialects. If you're in the country, right? If you're outside the country, you go, oh, they all sound the same. But if you're inside the country, you know who's from where. Now, so that is, of course, by Tomas. And then you've got the Portuguese cover, and this is by our colorist, Edwin Badillo. And, of course, all their names are on there. And also, the other thing about this is that each one that's translated, like, so TC's name is here, and, of course, this one's by Luis Andrade, and he's the one who translated this one to Portuguese, and he's from Brazil. And our artist here on our manga, Tomas, he's over in Italy, I think, right now, or is it France? I think it's France, and he's working there and then working on the comic manga while he's doing that. So yeah, and he's from Argentina, by the way. And so that was what I was saying about like how I don't know who was speaking Spanish, who wasn't speaking, and do they speak Spanish and Portuguese? I mean, sorry, Brazil. So the great, these are some cool covers that we're putting out, and then of course, and this is the cover packs, and this is of course a G-Spot cover set, and we've got the lab rat at the back, and we've got the under the beneath the skin, and the white one. I'll be going through the proper ones, but this is singular ones, singular images soon. But so we're offering this cover here, which is a white cover, well, what I call the pink lingerie white, because it's got a pink lingerie on a white cover, right? So trying to not confuse myself or confuse anybody else. Why is it white? Because it's on a white cover. And the reason for that is because one of our artist friends on YouTube basically suggested that, hey, why don't you do one where people could draw their own? And so the artist, was watching and said, oh, you know what? I'll do that. And so he went across and did a lingerie only. And so I really love all these covers. This one really, it's just so creative and imaginative. Like this is the thing I love about robots. It's the mechanic, electronic creativity and movement. If you've ever, as a kid, watched Blade Runner, which is my favorite friggin' movie of all time, right? Number one. So much so that I think I've got 3 versions of it, right? I think there's a Blu-ray here somewhere as well. And of course, there's a new version around this poster up there. But I'm a huge Philip K. Dick fan, right? So Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is the one with, which Blade Runner, is based on. And so I've always been into that and into robots and stuff like that. And I know who isn't, right? But for me, it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I just love the idea of mechanical man, right? Automata, and I learned a lot while researching this stuff, right? Like who was the first one who came up of the word robot? And I think it was the Hungarians, if I remember right. I do have an image of that, and I might share that soon. So let me just pop back down here. And so the other really cool thing is, thank you for hanging out in chat, guys. Of course, Fatal J is there, and nobody's got a Fatal J, as he says. And of course, Ictus, yeah, got that right this time. I was like, I'm not going to say that right. So let me pop back to that screen. There we go. And so, yeah, I just like the idea. And of course, one of the most, as a Star Trek fan, Data comes to mind, right? From the Next Generation classic series, right? And of course, we've got these ones here. And this is like the foils and so on, and the Id Vector mystery. Well, what we call the Rise of Machines Chrome. Then you've got the full Edwin Badillo, and I think it's Manuel Soto full foil cover, wraparound cover. And then you've also got the foils here of those two. I actually, sorry, should go back to that. I'll come back to that later. So these are like the dirty Tinhead trading cards. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 5 standard cards, and then we're going to do a specialized card. And so each one of there's about 4 of them. Like there'll be a foil, there'll be like a chrome, there'll be like not a chrome. Sorry, I always think it's going to be a chrome, but it's not. Like a gold foil, like a rose foil, or something like that. Some special ones. They're all listed. I'll go through that soon. And each one of them are like have their own little things. Like so. There's a rebel, the whole idea behind the Join the Revolution is that creating a story itself behind, outside of the comic itself, right? So it's like, are you on this side of the humans, or you on the side of the of the robots, or who are you choosing? So there's like these 2 cards kind of like fall between that, right? Kind of like the rebel, the renegade leader, right, or the renegade attacks card. No quarter. And so taking kind of like trying to create a story with the images outside of the actual comic book, so that when we create, go ahead and do new card sets, you'll be able to see all the, similar card names coming through, and you're going, oh, there's a renegade card. Oh, there's a renegade attack card. Kind of, they're all one-sided cards, but it's just kind of like when you're collecting, if you're a collector, I'm a huge collector. I've got like box, probably about 2, 3, probably a banana box. You see that big ones worth of cards, and from 80s and 90s, X-Men and all that. But when I had the shop, I had Yu-Gi-Oh and Vanguard, and so I kept collecting. Now I've got One Piece cards and some more recent ones. Like I think there was My Hero Academia. You know, sometimes I collect the player packs, box sets, whatever you want to call it, and then I collect the booster cards every now and then. Now, so this is these ones here. This is like the G spot. So each one of them come with these random numbers, and you're probably thinking, what are they? So if you go to a binary search, you know, online, and you plug in those numbers, you'll know exactly what those numbers mean and what they stand for. So I wanted to be a bit more, have a bit more fun with it, just instead of going 1, 2, 3, whatever, or and so creating like actual, names for these, these types of robots. So you got artillery mounted, combat mount ready and stuff, little silly things like that. Not silly, but yeah, you kind of think like, yeah, I'm definitely playing around with these cards, right? And so all our cards will basically have the same sort of colors and looks, because for the Robot Nation, so it's a Robot Nation card, even if you don't see the name. So this is the sketch card variant. This is of course the cover art for issue 1 by Francesco Conte, and this is just complete, just a pencil work, as you can see. And I think this is the only time we show it as a because we're not releasing any sketch art apart from this one here. I think these two, sorry, this red version, and I think it's a red foil version that we're looking. I'm not really sure right now, because I have to go look at the information I put up on for the Kickstarter campaign. And this is of course by G Spot, of course, from the Beneath the Skin cover art, which I think is cover G. And of course, this one here is from Edwin Badillo. Very, very. This was like came late in the game, probably only about a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, there's so many new work that the guys have put in and as covers, because it was like, okay, we want to do this, we want to do this. I'm like, okay, some of these we're gonna have to hold off for the next issue, because you can't put, like, at one point there was about 26 covers, and that wasn't even including the sketch covers. So I was like, okay, no sketch covers. And not some of these others will hold off as well. So like there's like about 13 covers for this one we're putting out, but then some of the actual ones we're putting out as specials on other pieces of material we're putting out, well, pure Chusky's, right? Like stickers, trading cards, pinups. So this is something very new for us, and we did a campaign last year for Incredible. Thank you for everybody who backs Incredible, and I'll show that a little bit soon. We're waiting on the shipment of the cover A's to arrive, because everybody who's got backed the campaign has got their stuff. But like we did a shipment for the store, online store, and also for the stores that we're part of in America that carry our our comics. And so we did, so that one's stuck on shipment somewhere, right? And way things are going at the moment around the world, it's kind of like everything's kind of delayed, and a lot of that has to do with whether that's happening over overseas, or ships are getting attacked in the ocean and all that, right, by pirates. And so we over here in our safe little quarter of the world think, oh yeah, everything should be on time. But when you really think about it, not everything works through our timetable. And so with Incredible, we had like a 1 month delay to get everything back to get out to everybody, but we got that out. So this one here is a special pack we're doing. This is a new thing we're doing, and the reason for that is because this is a standalone comic book. So it's a 44 page, not like the black and white version, which is only 36 pages. This is a 44 page full color comic book. So it was like, okay, it's a standalone, which means you could, if you only back this, you will be satisfied, because all the story's there. You don't have to worry about the next issue, even though we don't work on the next issue now, right? So each issue going forward for Robot Nation is a self-contained comic book, which means you can pick it up and read it, and you're satisfied with the story or not. you know, and you don't have to worry about a continuation to the next story. So that's why we've kind of said like a standalone. And that allows for comic stores to back something like this, because they don't have to worry about, oh, when's the next time Ari's going to put a comic out? What if it's stuck in shipment, like I was just saying, like for 3 months, right? What if it's not even, what if it's not going to been done yet? When is it going to be fulfilled? Or and why is it those like, well, with this one, you don't have to worry about that, right? Once it's done, we get it to you, and you've got it. You can do whatever you want with it, and that's why we wanted to like really make it really enticing to people, shopkeepers, and even if you're a bookstore owner, right? What we wanted to do, or even a hobby shop. I know there's shops that are hobby shops don't even have comic books, but if you wanted something interesting to have there, alongside your Funko Pops or your trading cards, you could have something like this, right? So you got cover A, 5 versions of print. These are all print versions, 5 versions of cover A, right? All in English. And then you get 3 versions of the Lab Rat cover by G-Spot. So you get the Francesco cover, interior artist, illustrator, I should say. And then you've got the G-Spot Lingerie White. And this is why I wanted to talk about this later, is because, now you can see that you can actually draw your own character, female robot, or maybe you want to do a male robot. It's up to you, right? Basically, that's the whole point of this one, is that when we're giving that one, and as part of the set, so that you can, maybe there's somebody comes and go, hey, do you have a white variant of that where I can draw my own? And they go, yeah, we've got this. And here's the thing, right? This is a mature comic. In the sense, it's a mature comic that there's gore, there's blood, there's violence. And I didn't, for this one, I don't want people to feel like, okay, I can't give it to my kids because look at this. So we, with the Plunge comics, on Kickstarter, we're just basically doing the mature runs, right? And more adult comic books on our page, right? On there. Whereas all our like, kind of like a PG-13, kind of general audience, or all ages, like we did in Critical, is done over there at the Rising Sun page. We don't confuse the 2 brands as such, or the 2 types of comics. So that we're putting out, right, for age groups. So the other thing is that we're putting out this the only people that will get this cover. This is like a limited edition cover, only for those who are in the all-in, because they got to have everything, right? Because if you're paying for all-in, that means that you get everything that is presented, right? And I just heard one of the guys turn up on Skype, and I'm sure if you're watching, you heard that as well, the Skype book. So this here is the game. There's a bloody version of this, which is which we're doing on for everybody. Anybody can buy it or put it in the head on, or whatever they want to do. And so that is done by our sweetest artist, Iwa Kim, who is actually working on on Zealandia Fantastical Romy story arc for that series, like Zealandia, which is a isekai style fantasy world, beast man, dryads, dragons, elves, and he's freaking. I love watching every time the artwork comes out. Not saying that I don't watch from everybody else, and I enjoy everybody else's, but there's something about this comic, because it wasn't supposed to happen now. It was going to be happen 5 years in the future, when I had everything sorted. I had already written it up, and then suddenly, I had this guy who does fantasy art come and say, "Oh, like, I'm looking for some, would love to do some work." And I was like, okay, yeah, I think this is the right person for this one. So let's bring that work forward 5 years, right? Which meant I had to rush and do it. Not that I didn't do a good job on the script, but had to rush and really put my feet down and work hard and write a script really quickly. And then now I'm working on issue 2, building this unique work, because while we're while I was waiting to do this in 5 years, I was building all the character things, right? Like, what sort of dwarves live in our world? Where do they live? Who do they associate with? What's their culture? all right? Because they have their own thing. And then where do the elves live? Where do the fairies live? What is their kingdom? And so, that's I was just so, it was so great to have Joachim, be a part of that. And like, yeah, just watching him draw things that I imagined or things I mock up that I imagine, and watching turn it. And not only that, like I said, I work with several artists, right, on several projects right now. I just mentioned earlier about working with, I've got a cover that I haven't talked about yet, but I work with a guy on a kind of like an R18, R17, or NC-17 horror, supernatural horror comic book called James Hill. Brilliant as well, right? And then, of course, I mentioned TC, Tomas, and Louise, who are working on their own books as well, a manga and a creature feature, kind of like werewolf story about mythological creatures in human cultures. So yeah, so we're going to be giving this free to anybody who backs this as a special thank you. But also, each one of those come with another, because there's 10 items. Right, I mean, all up there's 10 print comics here in English. So we're also giving 10 sticker packs and 10 beneath the skin pinups. So they could actually, kind of like what we're doing is sweet. If you buy a set of comics or a set of covers, you'll get a sticker set, right, as a free thing, or a pinup as a freebie, or you can add extras. So with this one, we're just giving away 10 as part of the set. So go, hey, thank you for supporting us. For each cover, we're going to give you one set of each stickers or thing. And this is just a kind of like incentive, right? This is not only do you get a free comic book that's only for retailers, but also you get 10 packs of, each. So that's 20 sets of stuff, of stickers, and 10 sets of stickers and 10 sets of pinups. So now I'm going to go and see who has joined us. And it is, of course, so Pharaoh J is saying, Robot Nation, what is the plot? There's 2 plots in Robot Nation. And welcome aboard, Mr. Sanders. How you doing, Hawk? You're on mute. I am not hearing you. I haven't got you muted. All right. What does that mean?
Now it's unmuted.
Yeah. Okay. What does that mean? It's like, it's red. What does red mean?
Red means no go. That's what red means.
Right.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. Right. I'm excited because we're talking about Robot Nation. As a matter of fact, as always, I got to bring a drink. Today's drink is my absolute favorite for this event only. I've got a dirty martini with 2 olives, garlic olives they are, so don't smell my breath after this. But, this is my favorite drink. It is 3 shots of vodka, a splash of vermouth, and of course 3 shots of olive juice and 2 olives. Cheers.
Well, the reason he's saying that is, and I'll let you know why he's saying that, because part of this whole thing is that we have certain cover sets that because this is about, like I said, I was playing with names. I was having a play around with what we got, what we do with this, and this thing here. This is what I mean by playing around. Damn dirty tin heads, right? Stuff like that, and and then humanity versus the machine, and then you got subjugate the machines. This is all our covers, and as you can see, like this is a retail incentive. Then you got the bloody version of that, because I saw that and I was like, I'm sure like people who like are going to back this would love this cover. So how do we, get them a cover, but without, kind of like infringing on the retail incentive cover, right? So it's basically, let's change it. And we went into like the bloody game instead of just a game, right? It's retail incentive. So these are the covers, and and I keep finding myself thinking like, I keep forgetting to cover up the, certain things, but Kickstarter said it was okay. So You know, it was small enough not to be a bother to them. And so that's cool. So now, how
did
have
you already
been,
get, did you get some of these call outs? You know, Fatal J says it looks dope.
Oh yeah,
Thanks
I'm getting to that.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm jumping ahead of you.
because-
We gotta these people are our fans. We gotta call them out, Aru. This is how this goes. Come on.
Yeah, we Fatal
have a
J saying,
drink for
what's the
that.
plot? I wanna take him to the plot. So
Okay.
the plot is,
Cheers,
right,
Fatal J. And Itchy Icathy 5.
ethics. I think it's ethics. I think I'm wrong with that, but I'm sure I'm going to find out. All
I
right,
thought it was
so
Icathy.
ethics, ethicus. That's it. I've heard it called out. I mean, you know, thanks. So here we go. Introduce your comment or introduce your story. They say, how do I introduce my story? Well, they give you space for it. Here we go. So the first issue is a self-contained comic book with 2 stories, Fatal J. Thank you for asking. And includes a pull-out full-color poster and pinups, as well as back matter and extras. So it's 44 pages, unlike the black and white one, which only had 36 pages, which is available in digital, you know. But we're going to be giving out some cool stuff. So the first story here is The Trouble with Bobo, which, by the way, is the story that most of our artists, you know, see as like the one they want to do the character off, like draw the character off. So that's why you'll see a bit more of her. So so basically the story there is a 16-page short story, because the thing about this is it's an anthology series, but it's self-contained. Each issue is self-contained. So every time you pick up an issue, you'll get a long story and a short story, and it's both complete. I know it can be confusing going standalone, because if you're outside of comics, you don't know what standalone means. Basically, it means one and done. You know, you don't have to worry about any other comic to pick up, but we'd love for you to pick up issue 2. So basically, this one, carry on.
And so the series is going to go on. The series will go on, Jay, but the books will be standalone each issue that's coming up. And you know, I really love the plot around this. You know, I've been letting everyone else have fun, but I think in the next one or the one after that, I plan on writing a story, getting involved with this, if Aru will let me, Mr. Aru.
Yeah, you can have number 3.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got number 3.
because Francesco's been plotting, like working on issue 2, and I think I've got like I've got half of issue 2 scripted. I've got issue 3, 2/3 of that scripted, because the story that's supposed to be number 1 in the series, like, I mean, not number 1 in the series, but that started all this, was called Pragbot, but that went from like a 12-page story into a 90-page graphic novel. So I was like, okay, we're gonna have to put that later on. But so the story here is, you know, it's set in outer space and on the planet Venus, right? So the Shankar family, dad, mom, and little Aaron are in orbit aboard their spacecraft of the first human settlement on the planet Venus, while awaiting permission to descend. I just realized, did I forget to put a D in there? But it's there now. I think I was editing the other day, and I would like cross myself, did a backspace without realizing. So waiting to permission to descend with fuel running low. What else can they do but land? So this is of course, I think this is a Portuguese version. So I want to show people when they saw the page that it is in other languages as well. So you get Portuguese, and as I mentioned earlier, Brazil, Spanish, and English, you know, which is standard. So we're going to get those 3 covers and those 3 translations. You can buy as many as you want. There's no limits on those ones. So this is the color here, this popping color, right? By Edwin Badillo, and of course the inks and pencils are done by Italian artist Francesco Conte. And if I remember right, this one here is Portuguese. This is a Portuguese, and I don't speak it, so I'm just going to say it because I know it's by our Brazilian artist Luis Andrade, who is currently working on the Maxi series, which is like around about 12 issues, Howler monster series, kind of like vampire, werewolf, and also mythological creatures, as I mentioned, like actual human culture, mythologies, tribal cult, mythologies and stuff. And that's been interesting studying for that.
And Howler looks pretty good too, Aru. I've been seeing those pages come in. That looks pretty awesome as well. Howler does.
He just sent in page 9 or something yesterday, and we've already plotted like about 2 issues, right? Penciled it out, talked, sussed it out, and it's like, and I'm building that world. It's like 200 year in Italy. There's learning so much, man. There's like the other day I was talking about it, and Nugget Ross Payne, who's an animator, was on. He said, "Yeah, research is so much fun, and when you're actually doing cultural things, you can play around with a bit, but you still want to be honorable and know what you're talking about as well." So this is like the first view you get of like what our version of Venus looks like with this colony there. And also, so the second story, which is a 12-page, so you got a 16-page story, and you got a 12-page story. The other day I laughed because somebody said, and this is like what we call a second tier or third tier mainstream comic company going, 22 pages of a comic. And I'm like, that's a standard.
That's a standard.
That should be standard. It's on the freaking cover, says 22 pages. That should be standard. So when do we not do standard 22 pages of comic books? Is it how the new norm is going to be, that the mainstreams creates less and less pages of actual art, and they fill it up with advertising, for whatever, for another 12 pages, and they say, here's 32 pages, and you find out there's only about 50 pages of a comic. But enough of that. So this has got all up 28 pages of actual comic book story and art, right? And so 16 pages for Bobo, and of course the title story, Robot Nation, which is the story 2. And just going to save that before I miss out. Okay, so this 12-page story, which is based in near future New Zealand, and this is actual place, right? This is Tutakaka. It's on the coast here, which is around about half an hour drive, if you drive safe, on the coast. And there's actually a wharf, looks like this and stuff. So I had to get like images and like photo references for Francesco to actually, go forth and, make sure it looks, New Zealand, right? Even, the trees and stuff and everything, and the fauna. And so this one is a title story, and this story is what I want to like offer to other writers to do like 12-page or 6-page stories around the world in their own sort of like, I've written up kind of like a loose Bible of what is supposed to happen, and after that, go for it, right? And whatever happens in your country, and it becomes like Robot Nation, Spain, right? Or like say Tokyo, right? So it's not actually a city, not actually a country, it's actually just a city. And so what happens like that? Kind of like Walking Dead, like you have all these things talk, where like, oh, this is happening here in LA now,
So I know that Jay, he's answering your question here about what is it. I think that the fun part is there's just these parameters that we put on it, and the parameters are really loose, right? And the parameters is that we're going to deal with robots and androids in an environment, and that was the kind of confining idea for Robot Nation and what held it together. So and I think that that's what you're going to see in all of the stories that come out throughout the series, is those are going to be the defining qualities of it. So I think in the first one, the first one is dealing with more of a service robot, or the second one is a service robot. The first one is
So Bobo is kind of like, you kind of like each story kind of, like the world of robots is interesting, right? Hook. I mean, the story that you told me about that you're thinking about doing.
I know you've been dwelling on it because it's so good, right? I'm excited. I got to get in.
And that's why I think like, you should do it, and it must be done. And so Nathaniel's here. So thank you, Nathaniel, for coming.
Oh, hey, Nathaniel. Oh, and he sent me an email. Nathaniel, cheers,
Yeah,
buddy.
he said he sent you an email. So Nathaniel's been after one of our. I'll show you what he's been after, and so you guys can see. Because we did do a really cool Kickstarter with our good friend, Kevin Zimmerman, who did the artwork and did the inking for this book, and we finally got it out to everybody. There was a month of delay, but we got it out. And but in that time, right, here's the thing: in that time, we were giving away free digital comic books for every week or two that we were late, and so they got a lot of goodies out of that because we're late. So this was our first one here, and so proud of this. And got our first superhero comic book out, and like just we're going to have the same colorist work on this one as well, but he dropped out, and so we got Edwin in. And so I think it'll be interesting. Would have been interesting to see what his art would it look like on this, coloring. But I'm so happy with Edwin's. Like I've had Edwin on live stream a couple of times, just so cool. So this is the cover A, but the one that let me pop down. The one that is it this one, the one that we did a spot color?
Yeah, that was a 2-spot foil. That one was, right?
Right.
And
Yeah,
we
so
did a 2-spot foil, and it just turned out amazing. I mean,
yeah,
it was so cool. I think that we're looking at doing that for a couple future Kickstarters as well, is maybe doing some more spot foil stuff.
yeah. Spot foils, like for people who don't know about color variances and stuff, each time you do something different, the price goes up. And so, but here's something about pricing, right? I was looking at mainstream comics yesterday because every now and then I like to buy and go and buy one. I saw a cover for $59 New Zealand, and here's me bulking it. Oh, people are going to worry about shipping and stuff for a couple of months there. I was like, oh no, nobody's going to want to back this because it's got to come all the way from America, and it's going to cost $30 for shipping to New Zealand, and they're not going to it's not something that they would want to do. And then I'm looking, the comic shop selling a single cover for $50, $60 actually, $59.95.
Oh, yeah.
So the mainstream's getting in on this really full on and following Kickstarter, and I see this as a Kickstarter thing because they're going in like very uniquely specific covers, and so they expect to give it as retailers as an incentive because hey, here you get it for a couple of bucks and you can sell it for this much. However, when you're out here, as an artist or as a creator or as a publisher or small press, right, that we're dealing with here at Kickstarter, we're not doing 100,000 copies, so those covers actually cost a bit more, far more, to actually get it made up. And so, like this one here with Incredible, it was it took a bit of work to actually make sure that there were layers with the right color, and that you had to remove all the background, and that the red and blue, would be there that you could see, and then it was just crazy because there's so much thinking that goes on that a lot of people outside of comics would not understand. And that's why they go, why is it delayed? Why is it delayed? And I'm like, the last couple, I was like talking about with Greg the other day, it's like, just posting on Facebook that I had migraines for about 2-3 days where I just couldn't concentrate. And every time I looked at the screen to go and write, like I could look at the screen, but every time I went to write, my brain just froze and my eyes started getting sore. And so a lot of people don't know about that when you create as a creator. It's not like just turning up to work and punching in and punching out. It's very different when you're an artist or writer and or creator. Like, you're a toy designer, right? So anytime there's a lot of thinking involved. And so you're not just, I used to work manual labor for 20 odd years of my life in different jobs. I could friggin' go and cook you a meal and I wouldn't even think twice about it. But if I sit down to write a page, my brain just goes 100 miles an hour and goes, is that right? Is that wrong? What's it spelling? What happens in that one? If you do this one, then it will be that one. And then your brain just goes, I think you need a rest, bud. You know, and so you take a couple, you know, you soak it in a bit.
Arun,
So
I just saw an opportunity. We were talking about comic shops. So I would like to say you can scratch that nostalgia itch at 1.21 gigawatts in Borger, Texas. He's got everything from comics to toys and games.
wait.
1.21 gigawatts.
1.21 gigawatts. That is the name of my store. It's also the amount of electricity needed for time travel. And that's how you're going to feel when you step into my store. You're going to feel like you step back into 1985. My store is all about the comics, toys, and nostalgia. If you have that nostalgia itch that needs to be scratched, come to my store. It's on 601 North Main Street, Borger, Texas. Again, I am 1.21 gigawatts, comics, toys, and nostalgia. The greatest toy and comic shop in a 50-mile radius in the great panhandle of this great state of Texas.
1.21 gigawatts.
Nice transition. I love it.
1.21.
We're going again.
yeah, I was like, I pause it.
But, you know, and we were talking about comic shops. I really need to reach out to my comic shop, which is Hub Comics in Somerville, Massachusetts. And
Right.
I've been waiting for them to get all my comics together so I can pay them and then they can ship them to me because I like getting a big box and I don't want to waste their time, you know, with all of that. So they've been saving up comics for me. Good guys up there.
Yeah.
So that's my
I did the
comic
same,
shop.
like, and this is the when I moved to this new to a new comic shop at the end of last year. I said, hey, can I buy and leave it there? Then when I'm ready, you know, I'll get it all shipped at once, so it doesn't cost me so much, because every time I'm going to send it, it's going to cost me $10, even if I buy one, right? So I had a package last week come in. What was it this week? Oh no, yeah, last week. And I did an unboxing of it and on live on Niobe Comics. Shout out to Niobe for Larry out there for, you know, on his channel. And so we just sat on his channel and just, you know, showed off all the covers we got. And the thing about this one, right, like you're talking about having retail support, retailers suffering. I mean, I was a comic shop owner, right, for about 18 months, I think it was. Or was it 15? I think it was 15. And I realized how tough it is to be in the comic business, because it's not like owning a grocery store because people just go in, oh yeah, I'll have that and go home. It's like you got to pay 2 months in advance, thinking what people might want. And then when it does turn up, people never turn up for it after ordering it, right? And so that's why I just thought, like, we do something like this, which is like a one and done kind of thing. And if they love it, 6 months later, they can come back and go, hey, we love what happened with that. We had 6 months to sell your comic book, and we didn't have to worry about telling people, oh, when's the next one coming out? Because it's here, it's done. So shout out to, you know, Hub Comics. I mean, it would be cool if they, you know, got on board with this. But I think that's another thing, right? We could send an email out letting them know, hey, you know, because I've been posting on a Facebook group called I think it's CSBN or something like CS Comic Shop.
Well, Rising Sun has a lot of comic partners, right? We do have a lot of comic partners. There's All Star Comics in Tulsa. You know, I could just keep naming and keep rattling off. I think we're like 60 something stores that we're in. And the weird part about this is that before Diamond changed, we've been a friend of comic stores long before Diamond changed. And you know, I have to use that because I'm not necessarily against Diamond. I'm just, you know, Diamond was different a few years ago than what it is today, and now they're much more lenient, you know, toward all kinds of stuff. So it allows creators like us to give things a shot. You know, here's a new book. Let's give it a whirl. Let's give it a go. I love what Nathaniel said down. He said, colonizing Venus is a bold move. Buddy, I'm telling you, that is a bold move, right? Poison gas, lakes of death. Like, you know, it's not for the faint of heart, you know?
Yeah, it was interesting, like trying to figure out how to do speculative fiction, right? This is basically what we're doing here, in comics and stuff, especially with this one. It's like, what would happen if you got to somewhere and something happened, right? That's what you always ask. It's like aliens, right? What if you got into space and then you went to go down to land on this place that might be able to, is hospitable, right? Not inhospitable, hospitable to humans, survival. And you get there and there's something there, right? Like in aliens, it's like eggs. And then you bring them aboard thinking, oh, it's just an egg, nothing. And then you realize it's a friggin', killer friggin' thing that goes into your body and all that crazy stuff. But I wanted also to highlight, Fatal J's comment here about the card. So let me grab the image that has the card. I think it's this one. So he said the fourth card, right? So he means Betty, and he's, I am going to, I think, for issue 2, I am going to use this one as a foil cover, because I think that would really pop. You were saying something there?
No, that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. It's pretty cool. The setup is pretty cool.
So let's go back to the Kickstarter for the campaign, and
back to the Kickstarter.
So
where did you leave
check
off?
out these colors, man. Like,
Yeah, they're gorgeous. They're really bright.
I mean, seriously, carry on.
No, they're really bright. The saturation on the color is pretty intense, and I like it. It really shows these things going on. I love that whenever we get to a landscape, that it feels like a foreign landscape. I think you can do a lot of that with the color that you decide to put on your pages. Sometimes that it helps tell the story. Color can help tell the story throughout everything. And of course, I love Francesco's art. I've always loved Francesco's art. He doesn't get enough credit, and he doesn't get enough money. And
Yeah, I've been sharing his posts all the time that he posts about it on Facebook. Like, I watch his his updates and stuff of his work, and so proud. And this is the thing about I like to showcase our artists' work, right? Anybody that's working with it, I just want to show you their pencils, their inks, because these are human people who work there, who've studied for decades to get to their level of creativity, right? And I think a lot of time people don't realize how frustrating and how many trials and tribulations you have to go through before you get to where you want to get to with your creativity, right? I mean, you're an artist yourself, and you're also a toy designer, right? So you can speak to that, right? So do you want to talk about that journey? Because I know with me, I've had to go, is what I'm doing actually worthy of people's money, right? Constantly. And then for a while, for a couple of years there, then I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm just going to do the best I can with the ability I have, and hope that the story I'm writing interests the person who is reading it, right? And look at that page, right? So this is kind of like what's inspired all this sort of like my childhood, right?
Yeah.
This is of course 2000 AD, and you look at that and you go, wow, look at the colors and popping off all that, but carry on, Hawk, I'm going to let you answer the question.
Definitely. I think when it comes down to it, it's, sometimes artists, we can get in our own headspace, and we start thinking that we're not worthy of the things that we're doing, stuff like that. And me, as being a senior kind of designer, I think that happens to me too. It still happens to me, and sometimes you need that you need some kind of acclamation that things are going to be okay. You need some kind of someone to say, yeah, I really love it. And sometimes it comes in the oddest places of all time. what I would tell any artist out there that's going through this is you really need to look at the bigger picture. You know, you need to take 2 steps back from where you're at and look at the larger scope of things and understand that there's a lot of people that cannot do what you do. And because you can do it, it has value. And because other people can't do it, it has value. And those things matter, right? You know, that you're bringing a value that no one else has. And you know, because you can bring that to fruition, you know, it means that your artwork is worthy. It means that it is worth looking at. It is worth, you know, embracing. So I would tell anyone going through that is just remember that you're unique in this ability. That there's a lot of people that can't do that, and you can bring something really interesting to the table for it. So I this week I was able. I sometimes I get projects that step out of my realm of what I really am. So this week I got to play in architecture. I do have a little bit of a building background before I went into art, so I was able to do some architectural drawings this week. And you know, even then, I was thinking, you know, it's been such a long time since I've done a technical drawing. Should I really do this? And you know, and I did it. I put it out there just to see what the feedback would be. Literally, the client was dancing whenever they saw the artwork that was submitted to them for architecture drawings. Architecture drawings. You know, they were literally dancing, and I was like, you know, it's such a good place to be in. So don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and try something new. And remember that you're unique in that ability that other people can't do what you do. So I hope that answered it well, and I hope that all of you watching will understand that there are many different ways that you can join groups. Rising Sun has many different groups. We're always taking on projects. We're always working with artists and helping them grow and helping them learn. And hopefully, we're doing it in a way that's positive and, you know, encouraging to them. And you know, I think that if you're looking for that, there's many other groups besides us out there that you can join and actually get some practice and experience in. So so I would say just jump in and remember you're unique. Go ahead, Aru. I think that covers what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Well, so what I was thinking about was like a lot of people will have like, you know, different stages when they come to things, and a lot of people don't understand the actual art form when it comes to comic books. Like unless you know, have actually, you know, a lot of people go to school, right? Unless you've gone to school and learned how things are done, and you know, where proportions, perspectives, and all that stuff. But the other part of that is, are you willing to learn, right? Are you willing to go, you know what, this is something I want to put my foot down to, and I want to make this my thing. That doesn't mean that like that's all you look at, because like you're saying, like your architecture, you know, art background made it possible at this age to be able to draw some friggin', you know, art, architecture type, you know, what do you call that? Like, I mean, I know we all call it architecture, but like structural drawings, you know, what is that?
This was actually architecture drawings. I did a 3D render of their house, and they're wanting to make a bunch of changes, and I actually did layouts, footprints, and footers, and all of this building stuff that was necessary. And I know that stuff because I've done it before, but
Right.
before getting into art, and you know, and I would, you know, I would always encourage, you know, everyone that, you know, even here I am at a senior designer, that I can go back and fall back on those things that I did before whenever times may get a little tight. That doesn't mean that I'm not a senior designer. Let's be clear. I am a designer. A designer is a
Yeah.
degree. That degree sits on that wall, you know, and that degree is in my pocket. It's in this mind. I use it on a constant basis. Even when I'm doing a menial job such as sweeping floors, I'm still thinking through the things I know.
Yeah.
So
I actually had that conversation about the menial job this week with one of our artists, right? He's like, you know, he's like, oh, yeah, you know, I'm gonna have to go off and do a job. And like, I'm so, and he goes, oh, I'm doing this, and it's like, that's what I used to do for 3 years. That's what put me through freaking film school. right? Paid the bills. I got to travel. I got to go and stay in hotel for the weekend with my friend and my wife, right, at the time, right, my ex at the time. Well, my wife at the time, but now my ex, right, for the weekend, and hang out and like have drinks for that night with my friends. Like they could come out and hang out with us, and you couldn't do that if you all you did was wanted to be a student. And I was saying like how I spent three and a half years of my life working while everybody else was just going out and getting drunk every night or going to parties and stuff. But because I was able to use work that my mom made me go and study for, at 20 years of age, I think it was like at about 27 or almost 30 years of age, helped me have practical skills where I was able to work in a sports bar, making food, plating up stuff for parties, for events, or just a guy going, "Hey, I want some toasties, fish and chips, please," and make that up and put it over, and then do 3-4 hours, then go home. Or because I had the key card, I could go back to school and work till midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning, then go home and sleep, and then go back to class again. And I think people forget the practicality of skills. Like, oh, I just want to, this is all I am. And like, but here's the thing about having skills. You can always fall back on them if you have practical skills. If you can't find a job in writing, hey, you can still go and work in the stores. Like I used to be in sales for about 12 years of my life, right? And what they call interpersonal, communications with people or business relationships and stuff. So, dealing with people. Oh, how many meters do I need for this room to put these tiles down in? I'm like, okay, let me work that out, and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, okay, hold on, okay, this is getting a bit more technical. Let me get my boss, and then my boss will come over, stand next to me, go, this is how you do it, Aru. This is how you work it out. Make sure you got a kick underneath that friggin' sink. That's about 15 centimeters, right? Because if you don't, you're gonna be kicking a wall. So make sure there's enough room there. Talking about architecture, right?
Yeah,
when you walk into the sink, you can't just stand at the sink and not have leg room, because otherwise you just kick every time and like, ow, And these things, like, oh, you got to have like about something. What is it like? What we call in New Zealand? It's like, I think it's about 6.9 or something like that. I think it's like a standard door frame that you got to have a height, and you can't go lower. You can go higher, but you cannot go lower, right?
Right. 6'6" is it's kind of like standard door size now. 6'7" is like standard door size now. But back in, what's funny is I've been to some of these houses back at the turn of the century, and standard door size is like 5 foot. So it's like a foot and a half lower. It's like, okay, all right, I get it. All right. But anyway, we're talking about practical skills. We're talking about practical skills and how sometimes your art brings that back to practical skills. And I am not an architect. An architect is a degree. I just did architecture this week. That's all. And I did that because I have extensive background in building a lot of stuff. And then I've got this design background, and I can marry the two just for a time being, right? So I don't want that to be misconstrued. I'm not an architect. Architect is a full degree, and they are probably much better than I am at doing that particular event. So anyway, this is. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sarah, carry on.
I was going to jump back to where we're at in Robot Nation, and we're looking at this gorgeous piece of artwork that's been created. Francesco Conte has done the pencils and inks on it, and then we've got who's the colorist on this?
Edwin Badillo.
Okay, Edwin Badillo is the colorist. And look, those colors are really bright and vibrant, and they're really popping. So I think it's a nice marriage between the two. I think it's working well, and hopefully both of them would agree. That this is they're liking the way that this turns out. They should be proud of what they've created here. And you as the consumer, I think that you're going to be happy with what you get. So,
So you're talking about design, right? You look at these pages, like look at how the perspective is. Look at this fence, how it weaves around, right? And then pops over here. There's the other side of the fence, and like you got the wharf here, you know, and the car, the way the car turns and everything. It's not like just this. It's not just sitting there, right? There's emotion to that.
Well, I mean, this is you know, he's really good. Like Francisco is really, really good. And you know, look at the composition of the page. This composition is pretty amazing. This S curves through the whole thing. And here's your S curve. You've got fire, and then you've got this arc of the car moving through it, which leads your eye down to the next panel. And then you have the arc of the car swerving back the other way, which is the other half of your S curve. And then you've got trees on either side that are pushing up and around, which brings your eye back around the page. So it's a beautiful composition in which he's put together. And like I said, it's got that really nice S curve that leads you through the page that you're watching and looking at everything. You know, and you know, Francisco does a great job with his layouts of being able to achieve all of those things at once. You know, and I imagine, you know, for Francisco, this was probably a single pass. You know, having worked with him before, it's probably a single pass.
So we've got one here, which is, this is a small panel, very small panel from a page. And I thought, like, just wanted to show you his work in black and white. Look at that. Just like, you know, you got a shadow on the face here, just blacked out. And then you got, I think it's Maria over here with a jug, and just, you know, just so much details. Like, even look at like the little, you know, strokes, right? Whatever you want to call it, strokes on.
Yeah, brush strokes on the towel, you know, to make it feel like it's textured. Yeah. And
then you've also got, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a bed, because I haven't seen it, you know, not looking at the other panel. So, but, oh yeah, there's a bed, there's a pillow there. So, you know, you've got all this, you look at the wavy, you know, patterns on the actual wrinkles on the bed sheet, right? Stuff like that. And even here on his jacket and stuff, or shirt, and just the water, everything's just taken so much time to put so much detail into each panel, which is why I wanted to just pop this panel up and say, hey, this is what his work is like, just without anything on it, but just him, you know. But of course, it just kind of like gave you a bit of a thing to tell you what's going on here as well. Now we're moving down to the covers, right? I don't want to, you know, don't want to give away too much of the work, because like I said, it's two short stories, so you can't really give too much information, because you end up spoiling. Even here, I just, you know, write down, like, I removed some of the bubble, you know, speech bubbles because I don't want to spoil what was going on. And so I only let down, I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't been paying attention, right? So you don't know what's going to happen. What was he alluding to? But you got, you know, you can see the background. But the other thing here is, look at the colors here, man. You know, with Edwin's work.
Reds and greens, you know, nice balance between them. You know, the warm colors, you know, migrating throughout it. And you know, I think that is a pretty good color, and there's lots of saturation to it, and I think that's real important. And then when we move down, we start to see, you know, kind of a migration of warm to cooler colors. So we go from warm reds and oranges to greens and violets, and you know, we're starting to cool off in the color set, like they're getting away from the collapsing or burning city. And I think that's exactly the point here, right? They're getting away from the burning city. So he's telling a story in color. So those blues under the tree, all of that stuff.
Yeah, and he's done a really good job. You know, like, I think, I'm hoping that, you know, we'll have him for the next issue or whatever issue we're going to be doing. So hopefully, you know, we keep that going. So moving down to the covers, right? So you got the English cover A, right? You've got interior colors, as we mentioned, is going to be Edwin, and interior art is by Francisco. So not much to go over that again. But next one we've got here, of course, is the Spanish language version, and this is the only cover that I think that we've got that you'll be able to get the variant cover in. So if you want that cover, because I know I buy cover art, right? I buy comics just for the art, right, on the cover. not worry about the story inside, or just for the cover art. So if you wanted this cover art, you'd have to get the Spanish language version. But that's also something different, right? Like, you know, how many people do you know are doing, different languages and then offering a specific cover for that language, so that like if you pick this up and to read as a Spanish person, I think that's Spanish. Yeah, you'd be picking up only that cover. You won't be seeing the other cover, right?
I love the concept of this cover. That's what I love. I love the concept because it's the only dance move that I can do correctly, right? And I think that's the point, right? It's a human in the middle of a bunch of robots, and they're like, dance it, and he's like, I can do the robot, So, so I think that's exactly the point here, right? That's the one we all get right. I kind of would like a poster of this, I would like, the only dance move everybody can do, no matter who you are, you can do the robot.
Well, we could do that for issue 2, right? We'll pop something out like that, because that's the thing about doing Kickstarter is like you're not stuck and legally stuck to do that only the thing. The only thing that we're legally stuck to, because I wanted to do that, is that the retail incentive cover, right? That those are the only covers that we put out there for that only. And then all for the the only other people that will get it is the all-in covers, the tier set.
I don't want it as a poster. I want it as a t-shirt. T-shirt.
Yeah, a t-shirt would be cool as well. But I mean, it's got them. I went out of my way to to go and put a bit of Incredible in there, because I wanted to kind of like a crossover, like because what I mean by that is about the t-shirt he's wearing. So this is our Incredible, right? So I wanted to kind of pop over and have that color tone there as it's kind of like hey, look, she's a pop sort of a pop culture thing in this world, right? And in the Robot Nation world, and so you could basically have someone in that world wearing a t-shirt of her, and kind of like a crossover without being a crossover, right? That's why you got that little red t-shirt with the logo on it, and so on. But this Tomas did amazing work on this. And here's the thing, I didn't ask Tomas to do this cover this way. He just decided to do it right the way he did it. And so
go, awesome.
And so then I went across and did the color, did the coloring and put the logo on and stuff. But the structure, everything is his idea. Just the coloring and like the t-shirt, t-shirt logo, whatever, is my idea. But like, did an amazing job. Love it. So if you want that cover, right, Spanish language, that cover B tier, right, and of course moving down, we got cover C, which is by Edwin, and if I remember right, Manuel Soto, right. So you got Portuguese language cover. You've got Louise, of course, and here's the thing. We always give credit to our artists who are working on it. So you'll see Louise's name right up here, as LM Andrade will be right up here as one of the translators, right? And so, actually, it's down here on this one. So it's always different. So you got like, how do you pronounce that? Do you know how to pronounce the Spanish language for robot, like nation? So Nacion, robot, right? So then here you come down, you go Naseo, Robo, it's so much fun, man, doing this as well, like learning another language.
Right. It's pretty cool. It's really cool. Getting to see your creation in another language, pretty awesome.
Yeah. And of course, if I remember right, also Edwin's Puerto Rican, so him being able to do the Portuguese cover, when he send the cover through, I was like, I want to put your cover on this one because I need a cover for the Portuguese one. So I said, cool, this will be, so kind of like throwing back to the culture thing, and it was like, because this is actually a wraparound cover he did, and he did about 2-3 different variations of it, but I decided to choose this one because as a centerpiece rather than all the other sides, because you'll see that one on the wraparound. But I really love this cover. Kind of reminded me of like Transformers robot cover or Japanese mecha. So I just thought this will be brilliant. So the artist on that is actually Manuel Soto, and Edwin is the colorist on this one. So that was pretty cool. And also look at the like depth of field on this, right? Look at how the motion of this, just like how, how it kind of like goes in. If you look, there's like a cone to this size-wise, the 3-point thing, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, and then also you've got this guy up here. And so that's cover C. So now you got the variant covers, right? And there's 3 different languages. Why it's not, it's not like these 3 don't come under that because that's your standard for those languages. Now, so you got cover D.
What's going on with cover D? And let me close my eyes here. Hold on. Okay, you can talk about it now.
All right. So cover D is a not safe for work robot lover cover, right? That's what I've titled that as. It's colored by artist, a good friend of ours, G Spot.
Oh my goodness, that's so good. I never thought about that when we were putting when you were running this through. And it's a robot lover cover.
Yeah.
It rhymes. Like I didn't think about that. Okay. All right.
So the whole idea here, like, James is a brilliant, and I'm so grateful to have him do covers, right? As I'm with everybody else. James himself right now is working on a comic book called Templeton Rise and Fall for us, right? It's a 6-issue supernatural comic book. He's on issue 2 right now. Once we finish this Kickstarter, hopefully you guys will back it, and you guys will, support this Kickstarter and help us be successful in it, not just cover, reach our goal, but actually go over. So, and that, we'd love for that. But the other thing about that is that with this, James is working, like I said, on a NC-17 kind of book, which is more kind of leans more towards that more mature adult age. It's a horror book, so think of like Hellraiser meets friggin' Evil Dead, right? Meets Ghost. That's the easiest way I can think of it. Hellraiser meets Evil Dead meets Ghost, right? So he's working on Templeton. Templeton's like, it's probably the most adult thing I've done so far when it comes to comic books, and it's just so good. Like seriously, it is awesome. And when we're doing the covers for that, I said to James, I said, listen, man, everybody gives you cover D or cover E as like a interlocking covers. And I said, you know what we should do? Cover A should be interlocking. So if you buy cover A of every single, and I know everybody wants to usually do that, and this is the reason why I said, if everybody who buys cover A, every cover A for all 6 issues was locked into one big image. And so that way everything's something different when you got from us, you get it right. And so this one, you got 3 languages and stuff, and that's something I'm going to look at doing for everything going forward, but it's just something more special. And so I just appreciate James really huge. And of course he did the really cool incredible poster and art as well. So let me show you the incredible poster.
I hadn't thought of this before, Rue, but those that wanted to learn Spanish or English, you could probably buy all 3 books, and then you could like learn to translate between the 2. This is what this word means. This is what that word.
That's how I've done, like with manga, right? I've like by watching anime, I know when to pick up like the culture, and also like when things don't sound right. And when the English translation's gone in there with the dubbing, I know when something's not right, in the translation, and so I'll go over to the subtitle one and watch that and go, yeah, I was right. I knew I was wrong, and I was right, and you're right, and that's how a lot of people learn to read as well, by actually differentiating between, okay, this is what that word means, like here, right? When we looked at nacio in Spanish means nation, right? Or nacio in Spanish means, and Portuguese means nation. you know. Now I was going to show you guys this really since we're talking about James, right? His poster that we actually sent out, full glossy cardstock cover got printed up off this.
Oh yeah, that thing's gorgeous. That thing's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
It turned out that really turned out nice. I hope all the Kickstarter backers that got this, I hope they were really pleased with the poster. I hope they were pleased with the packages when they came in. I haven't heard any comments one way or the other, so I'm assuming that they were. I'm gonna say that you guys loved it. They loved it.
Yeah,
they loved it.
It's only when you get like bad like a negative, then you know they didn't love it. But when they just carry on,
you know there's an adjustment,
right? Yeah, right. They're all broken up. So the colorist on this is, of course, G-Spot, and we're going to move on to showing some of G-Spot's covers, right? So that's cover D, just a print cover, no, because we do have a foil virgin cover of it, right? And the reason you've got the black out here is, of course, it's like, you know, topless and all that, and the lady's nude, so you know, didn't want to run into problems with that, you know, anybody just breezing through Kickstarter. So now we go with G-Spot.
Earlier you asked me to do a cover, and you know, all I could show was just the eyes. Okay, I'm just letting you know. That's all that you could see was the eyes.
Wait,
the whole thing would have been blacked out, but just the eyes.
Well, you can. Hey, here's the thing, right? If you plan for it, you can do it for issue 3.
Oh, okay. All right.
You can do it for your, you know, when you write your, you know, your story for issue 3 of Robot Nation, and you'll have a cover that you can do for that as well. So that'll be pretty cool. Now, yeah, I mean, that way you get, you know, double whammy, right? As we say, you got the cover and you got the story.
Perfect. Okay, on to the Lab Rat G-Spot. Here we are. Here we are with this one. Now, who did this cover? G-Spot, right?
Yeah, G-Spot did this cover, and the colorist, like we mentioned earlier, he's a colorist on this one with Robot Lover. So the Lab Rat, you know, basically, I just love, the reason I call it a Lab Rat is because, like, look, she's in a lab, right? You know, look at that. And so I thought, I was like, that would be a cool name for it, you know.
Right.
But what I think what I should do is actually show you the bigger image of that, right? So you guys can actually get an idea of what that work looks like in its full
blow
glory.
It up for us.
So,
blow it up for them, Maru. They need to see it. They need to see it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys some work in progress type things, right, as well, because I think it's, because like I said, I like highlighting our artists, you know, stages of work. So I'm going to try to go backwards here a little bit, and I'll see how I can go with this. So this was like images that was sent to me, you know, just taken off the mobile phone, along the stages of the creation of this work. And you know, it's always great to see people, like, I love seeing work in progress. It's something that I fully enjoy. It's, you know, it's because it's just, you know, this is kind of further along, but I just love seeing it because it's like you get to see the raw, you know, before any colors or anything are added to it and stuff. And then you also see how people, you know, how artists work on their work. So
that's pretty.
Look at the details, right? Man.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Wow. Awesome. That is awesome artwork. Really good.
Look at the blues here, and for me, I'm like, it's basically saying that's where the shadows are, whatever color choices. But check this out, that you guys might not have seen. Look at that. The details on that.
Yeah. Who is this artist? It's like Frank Frazetta meets you know,
I kept telling people, like, this is a very well known, really high quality artist, and I just, he's going under a pseudonym, so I gave him a pseudonym, and so G Spot is what we will know him by for going forth, right? And so more here, just like working out colors. And this is something I haven't really seen anybody kind of do in the way, like differentiating these things, because usually they go in and go, okay, X, right, and that's going to be black, and so on. And here we're getting the form. Like, you look at the formation of the curve on the robot here, but also if you look at it, like, there is no arm on this one, right? On this part.
Oh, interesting. I didn't notice that.
So you got the hand here, and then you got like just setting out what's going to be where, and just the planning stages. It's what I love, just seeing, other creatives' minds work. That's why we do the interviews, right? When did you do, feel like this is what you want to do? Who was the inspiration behind it? Who was a mentor to you? And so forth with the, when we do our Plungecast interviews and stuff like that, or conversations. This is, of course, then taking that work into a software to look at coloring and differentiating between the layers. Here you go. Add, hands, joints, stuff like that. Like, seriously, you look at how this is all leaving notes so you don't forget, right? Because now you can write on it because it's in the software and it's on a layer, and you go, yep, leave a note here everywhere, and you're not actually affecting the artwork itself. But here you can see here, like, I was just thinking with the arm, it's like now you got the arm here, right, coming across, and it's holding the skull.
The human skull.
Human skull, yeah. There's an early process here. You can see how it's forming the skull and deciding this is where it's going to go.
Yeah,
and the hair, what we're going to do with the hair. Yeah, so you're going to see between the two, right? You get the early stages, and then you got the kind of like actually formulating it. And there you go. Look, and then the colors getting added to it. And look at it, like, how we're saying, like, where the black or white is, and then he was doing like pale blues instead of black. And just look at the shading here and stuff like that. And as you can see, the form of the hips and stuff, forming of like the midsection here, and all this, like, the details here, so freaking awesome. Not only that, the choice in colors, everything here has a lot of time to spend on it. It's not just like,
this is a huge amount of time that's been spent on this cover.
Yeah, it's like a master, what we call a master, of his work, of his skill, right?
Aru, I've got 3 minutes before I've got to be in my next meeting, so
all right,
I should probably get out of here and hopefully let you guys take it over. I know that there might have a couple other guests joining you in this read through, but guys, it's been awesome. Nathaniel, I'm going to look for that email, and hopefully we'll find something real soon. Hopefully I'll look for that today. Okay.
All right. We'll catch you later.
Please,
you want to say any final goodbyes?
Yes, I want to say, guys, please back and support this new Kickstarter campaign that we're launching. It's a new thing that we're doing. We're trying some different stuff, and we really want your support, really want your help. We want to give these artists and the writers and everyone all of the praise and credit that they deserve, and lots of monies. We want to shower them with monies so that they can feed their their pet iguanas or whatever that they've got to feed. But we do need your support. Hopefully you found the project really enticing, and please jump on Kickstarter, jump in and support Robot Nation. And we're gonna fulfill it quickly. We've made some changes as far as fulfillment goes, and some adjustments with a few things. So anyway, Thank you again, and I will see everyone real soon. Okay. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bye, Aru.
Bye. Thank you for jumping in, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're
Hanging out
welcome.
for us
You're
all. Also. All right. Okay. So back to our project. So and the covers, right? So I've just put the link to it in chat, and I haven't launched it yet but I think I should, right? I should get over there and hit that button. But but bear with me. You know, I just want to go through this so I can showcase, like I said, yeah. So that's the final cover, right? The lab rat final version of that, and then of course this is cover F, which is Ewa Kim's cover. This is the variant of the game, which we did for as a retail incentive, a free comic for retail backers, part of their retailer pack of 10 comic books and 3 different covers and stickers and pinups. And you'll be able to see that soon. And then this one here, and by the way, excuse me, Ewa Kim is working on a comic book series called Zealandia Francesco Romi. It's beautiful. If you're into manga and anime, you know what isekai is, but it's basically a parallel universe, right? World, and this is set in a parallel universe called Zealandia, a version of New Zealand, and so all the main, map, whatever you want to call it, landscape is the same, but it's 1/10 the size in this world. And the thing is that people from our world go into this world accidentally, right? It's like you walk through a fog and you're there. You walk into a cave to hunt, look for an insect or something, and you're there. You're a baby and you're placed into a cot, and suddenly you're there, and like all this sort of disappearances. And so, but in this world, there are witches, there are dryads, what you call dwarves, elves, all these fantastic creatures, right? That we think about: beastmen, halflings, demi-humans, demons, giants, dragons, and all that. And he's done an amazing job working on that. And I've been this week working on this issue 2. I think I've got about maybe 14 pages of it already written. So I think it's the first arc is about 4 issues, and that brings together the certain characters together, main characters and stuff, and you get to a bit of world building and stuff. And we talk, there's a page that we kind of I've got in this comic book, so you get an idea of what's going on in that story. And so that's the game, and this is by Joachim Hagström from Sweden. Because we work with a lot of international artists, right? I'm the writer, creator, and designer, and so on, of the books, and I'd also do the lettering as well as everything else apart from the artwork or the coloring. So I just love working with these artists who are you don't know what it's like to have your dreams of a story or idea or concept be brought out onto a page, and you get to see this amazing work come to life that was in your head. And the other thing is Zealandia, it came from a dream, right? It was basically a young girl being chased through a forest, down a path, and I'm going, why is she getting chased? Why is she running? And so all I could see was her ankles, right, running through the thing, and then there's people chasing, and then I woke up and I thought, why, let's maybe figure out where this is all going. So I ended up writing this outline, and now it's a comic book, right? And a lot of my stories start that way. It's kind of like 50-50 or 70-30 kind of 60-40 kind of ratio, where they either come from dreams, or while I'm watching something, or while I'm just doing dishes, I think, oh, what if that would happen in that situation? What if you do? That's how creativity works, right? So the next issue is, of course, we've got a mystery tribute variation on cover B, and cover by Tomas, and cover B is this one here, of course. Let me pop down. So it's a variation on this cover, and I'm going to be coloring it. I think I've got some of it colored, but we're looking to finalize the cover. And so that's why we haven't got the image up here. But also, it's a mystery, right? Do you think it's worthwhile your money to pay for a comic cover that you haven't even seen? You know, that sort of situation. However, it's good, right? If you like his cover B, the Spanish cover, right? Then you'll be happy with cover H here, the mystery cover variant. It's a kind of it's a tribute cover. It's a cover kind of to a situation, you know, to my childhood in New Zealand, and something that I thought was really cool, and also it was very popular, very pop culture thing. So, you know, and I'm hoping it'll be a cool surprise to our Kiwi, to our Kiwi friends who back it. But there's only a limited, you know, it's one of those numbers where I'm just going to do a set amount and that's it, and not do it ever again kind of situation. Now we got the foil covers. Of course, you got, you know, this is the virgin cover, what we call like no tax kind of thing, but they're like no trade, what they call trade dress, right? The logos and all that, like this. Like if you look here, you got all, this is the trade dress, is what we call, you know, what like the studio name or the company name, the artist name, and all that, all in bold, and the title of the cover, I mean, of the comic, right? However, with what we call, with the virgins, you don't get that all over here, right? So you just get the rawness of it. However, you might see a little, like, just so that you know what it is, and if somebody's looking at it and go, oh, what is this? And then you go, oh yeah, without having to go and open up the entire comic book, right? There's a little, you know, like, this is cover, hey, and it's James Hill, and it's Robot Nation. Very tiny, as you can see it. You can barely see it, but because the whole focus here is on the art. And of course, it's a foil cover, right? Now, I don't know, I know that there might, you know, I'm not sure if there's like a 50-50, you know, where like you can, depending on what country you're from, you'll see these in New Zealand dollars or American dollars, not sure, or your own dollars. But the way I've put it out, they're all in New Zealand dollars from our end. So you got to, you know, I think it's automatic with Kickstarter. They'll just tell you this is what it is in your country dollars. So if you suddenly see me go on there and you go, oh my goodness, it's that much for a cover, it's in New Zealand dollars, right? So it's 1.6 times the amount of American dollar. So, you know, it's cheaper, you know, according to your own country compared to what we, you know, for us, or so forth. I don't know. Exchange rates are weird, right? Now, so we've got the virgin cover of the Lab Rat. Sorry, the Beneath the Skin. So Lab Rat, of course, you saw is the one with the lingerie on, right? And then with Beneath the Skin, you just have the bare bones, right? Metal, everything's metal and everything on there, on the robot. I just love this cover. I don't know what it is about it. If it's something to do with like this, my PC screen, or like my flat screen here, LCD. But for me, it's like, this is hollow. Like, it's like a 3D effect. I don't know what it is about colors, but my eyes feels like that this hand here, there's about 4 layers when I look at it. And it's like, you know, like, I don't know what they used to call it, but like, it's like a layer, like a 3D effect on a cover. But that's what, when I look at it, that's what it looks like to me. And I always feel like, wow, that looks cool. But, you know, I always, you know, I'm sure someday we'll be able to, like, for us, I don't know, that people have already printed that 3D effect on a cover. And I'd love to see this done as that. So, of course, this is, you know, the Beneath the Skin G-Spot foil cover J. Now we go on to wraparound covers, right? So this is a wraparound covers, which means basically these are full front and back single image wraparound covers with no text, right? So same thing, virgin covers, and this is a variation on cover C, the Portuguese cover. This is what I basically got, was a full wraparound and everything. I thought, okay, we'll use a portion of that for cover B, so everybody can have this art, and then we can offer this kind of like a movie homage cover to a Space Odyssey. And if you've ever seen the start of a Space Odyssey, it's like two ape tribal groups, one's in the water hole, and they're going, they kind of like drinking there, and this other thing shows up, and then afterwards this the monolith turns up, and next thing you know, they kind of learn something, and next picks up a like a animal bone, and then they go to war. And so that's a variation on here, where it's like the robots on one side, you've got the humans on the other side, and you've got a person, human, robot over here, going off on it. And that's what Edwin Badillo is a colorist, and Manuel Soto is the artist on that. And of course, next up is, these are like sample art sketch of that, but this is a wraparound cover by our good friend Art Victim. Do check out his artvictim.com. Let me just bring that up, because I think it's, where is my link? Come here. Art Victim. Excuse me for a bit of silence there. So I will grab Art Victim's page, and you guys can. Oh no, that's ArtStation. What? Why'd you give me ArtStation? Where's Art Victim? There we go. Artvictim.net. All right. So I'm gonna check his link in the chat, and you guys can see that. So, do go out and support our artists. I do, really appreciate if you, pop out there, and I'll show you the actual homepage so you can have a look at that. So Art Victim's done, has done the artwork for us there. He's doing a wraparound cover, so he's got a whole bunch of stuff, like lots and lots of work there. So, prints, stickers, t-shirts, merchandise, new ones coming up, art magnets, coffee cups, the whole works. This guy is a brilliant talent, right? Skill, not only as an artist, but as a business person, just because he's worked in galleries and like so much tattooing and everything. So it's a bit like Edwin Badillo, right? And our colorist. So do check that out. Would really appreciate it if you guys show him some love. Now back to, there we go. So we were talking about this, and I said, I'd love to do some pinups, and I thought, pinups would be cool and so forth. But like, I was like, well, what if we just took all the ones we're doing, just put it as a wraparound? And so waiting on on that, but I've seen some sample works as well. But I just wanted to put these up there so you can show you. Why do I have both the same? I'm gonna have to just remove that one. Sometimes when you bring up, and this is good time, right? That's why I haven't actually hit these. Sometimes there we go. So sometimes when you like do multiple images to Kickstarter, it just doubles up on the same first image. And so this is, so he went with like the farming one, which is really interesting, kind of that concept, right? The farm concept for robots and stuff, which I kind of like. I think it's really cool to kind of like see, that's the whole idea of Robot Nation, is like, you've got a nation of robots who are like, who do the menial task and so forth for humans, right? And so this is the Rise of the Machines wraparound that we're going to be calling. It's a Virgin Chrome. This is the first time I'm doing a Chrome cover. And so this is what a Chrome cover looks like. Oops. Let me just fix that before I close this and ruin my comic book. So when a Chrome cover is basically a plastic cover that is like very thin, like not very thin, but page thin, right? Comic page thin cover, which then, and this is what we're doing with our one, which we've done it as a full wraparound cover, which, is chrome, right? Like it looks like a foil, but it's like what we call a chrome cover. So you can have all these things popping off like that. So I'm, depending on what the artwork comes in, looks like we're basically going to, I'm hoping it pops, right? And that you guys will, but you get a sample of idea of what the artwork is like. I love those, right? It just reminds me of my childhood back in Fiji. My granddad, like by the time I came around, they had a tractor. They just sat there, like the engine had gone and everything, but it just sat there on our compound, and we'd play all around it. It's one of those really, really old John Deere ones, and the color of it was like gunmetal green, like that really, really dark olive. And I remember it so well, but I think in the end, they basically dug a big hole and buried it, because in Fiji, you don't have like, what would you call it? You don't have like wreckers or something like that. So it's basically, it costs so much to remove it. You got to get a tractor, then you got to get, and like financially, it's not really viable to take it to the wreckers or something. So by the time it all fell apart, they just basically dug a hole deep as they could and then just shoved it in there, and that was it. And then over the top of it, they just grow plants, right? So yeah, and someday, I guess in a couple hundred years ago, what is this artifact? So now as I said here, like Art Victims special wraparound cover to be finalized. You probably think, oh, why are you thinking this one? Because when it comes in, we get, here it is, we'll be talking all about it. But it's kind of like, it's one of those mystery covers, right? You see something about, see some bits of it, right? You know what the character's going to look like, and then you go, yeah, I want that. Or you don't, but I'm sure, if you've seen Art's work, it's going to be good, right? And I'm just glad to see a lot more people kind of like backing him, and a lot more people are, like I say, all our artists, right? I want to see our artists get support left, right, and center. The whole point of like Kickstarter is to start something and to get yourself promoted so that you can get more work, that you can work on other people's campaigns, so they can become self-supportive. That's the whole point, And the other thing is, for me, is like, I want to see our comics in stores, because I don't want to just be someone who just lives on Kickstarter for the rest of my entire life. I want to be able to go, hey, here's a thing, and for you guys here on Kickstarter, these are like variant covers, and then we're going to go and do one or two, cover A and B or C into the stores, and just sort of like that. So kind of using it like it's kind of a promotion tool, but also as a way to do something for collectors. I know I'm a collector, so I have the mindset I want the specific covers, but I know when you're doing you can't do 100 covers, right? Like, unless you're a friggin' like Marvel or DC, who actually do 100 covers, variations or whatever on certain projects, right? But when you're just a small press like ourselves, a small studio, or you can probably end up doing for the comic stores is cover A and B, if you're lucky, C as well, depending, how much you've come away with from the campaign, or how much you were able to print on Kickstarter. Now, we go into the special packs, and this is like the Asimov's first law. And of course, the first law is like, a robot should do no harm. And I actually have that, so I'll show you. It's one of the things I actually created as part of this campaign, was that we would have, let me find the word. Was that we did a little, I'm going to be doing a little signature card, right, for all our tier backers. I think it is like our multiple tiers, like, cover sets. and we're going to get it printed, and then I'm going to sign it, then I'm going to number it, and I'm going to send it out free. It's like, I think it's like a 5x7 card or something like that. And where are you? Right, so images, there it is. So when we'll finally come up, so I can finally see it. Right. So it's got, I think, what do we say here? So I think this is it here. Just make sure, because there's multiple images I've got, but this is the ones, right? So not that one. Yeah, here we go. So you get to see this really cool. We get to give, we get to send you out this directly from New Zealand. We'll get it printed out, and this is like the robots, right? A robot may not injure a human being, or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. So that's the point of that. So if you know anything about Asimov and iRobot and stuff like that, which is that's based on, he's kind of like, I guess in a sense, we all kind of think about when it comes about like, what if the world we were creating robots and what we would put into them so they wouldn't work for us, not against us. But so yeah, this is going to be a signed signature card that I think you can add on. I'll have to pop over there so when we go to the add-ons and stuff. Now, so yeah, so that's that one. And then you got this is all the 3 languages: print version, standard, translator, English, Spanish, and Portuguese. And then you've got like the G-Spot art cover set, and these are all just the print versions, regular cover set, not the foils or virgins, just the standard. And then you've got, of course, like the foils and the chromes, wraparounds, and so on. And then, of course, the retail incentive, and finally, all in, all in everything we produce, you get, right? You get, this tier includes the following cover and specials, which is like cards and have you everything. Now, then as I mentioned, the add-ons, right? So you can get a sticker to the TINHEADS. This is like the sticker set, right? So you get a variations of this different artwork there. I think this is the first time you see this one here, which was created by Edwin Badillo, kind of like a termination to his thinking about, I think he talked about that on the stream a while ago. So these are 3x5, which is like about 3 inch by 5 inch, kind of like a bit smaller set. So you can just chuck it anywhere, right? Doesn't take too much room. Then you got the lithograph. This is a virgin cardstock. So these are like around about 180, 200, 250 GSM. Just have to see, because each printer says something else, right? So it's kind of like a heavy card set image, full color print, same size as a comic book cover, right? So basically about this size here. And that's an add-on. And then you got the stretch goals, right? So you get the first stretch goal, you get like a G-Spot sticker. So you've got the stickers here. It's kind of works at 4x6. Thinks about, kind of ratio of a comic book down to that size. And you get that free when you reach, 1.5, right? Our goal is actually about 4.5 New Zealand, right? But if we reach 1.5 US, you get a free sticker. Then you, of course, you got at 2K, you get a print, a 4x6 print. It's kind of like about yay big or something like that of the, the manual Soto sketch for cover C and the wraparound we saw with the foil. And then, of course, you get this, what are we, sticker? Yeah, 4x6 sticker. So kind of a, about yay larger sticker you get for free as part of that. And then you get the poster, which is kind of like a more flimsy, because we wanted, the reason with this one was like we wanted everything to be able to package and send out flat with your Gemini, right? And so kind of like a more of a I guess like this would be more in the sense of a standard Marvel Comics thin cover, right? However, all our covers for ours is like kind of like a heavy cardstock type cover, standard. That's something that we do with Rising Sun and for Plunge Comics, is that they all have a thick cover. So they're not, so we don't send you out like flimsy covers that get easily, wrinkled and stuff. So it's like this, right? Right. So they're very cool cardstock type covers. And so they're not like real flimsy. Let me see if I've got one here. I guess the standard form is like the mainstream is that you get, if you have a cardstock cover, you have to pay extra, right? However, with us, that's just a standard for us. So if you see our comics in the shop for cover A, it's basically this, right? It's not like your average thin covers that are printed out in the mainstream. So that is, and so you've got the, this is like the cover, the comic page size, like cover art for the incentive that we did for them, and we're just doing like a mini poster type thing, right? That's why we put, so you know exactly what size you're going to get. And like I said, when we put this out, it needs, I did it for this time. I did it make sure that it was like we didn't have to do extra packaging, and so you weren't paying any extra. So it was just going to be, flat packed into a Gemini. If you put this in as an add-on, and you didn't have to worry about, oh, now I've got to get rolled, or is that arriving flat or anything like that. So I just wanted to make it very easy, because I get stuff from overseas as well, and I know how costly it can be. So I just want, but also I'm a collector. So if I want certain things, I want to be able to say, well, if I want these sort of things, I want to be able to offer those sort of things as well. So check out the amazing colors again. This is of course the Portuguese version of the, you can see the text there. And we've only put out 2 pages because I don't want to put out too much, because, which it's 28 pages of actual comic book and art, and then it's 44 pages all up. What I'm going to show you just before we finish up here, and the other thing is, like, because my guys said like some of them weren't able to come because it's midweek, right? And the reason I wanted to Kickstarter midweek, as soon as I heard it, because we've got an event on here in New Zealand called Armageddon. It's about 2-hour drives from where I live, and my friend, whose third issue of his comic book, which is, let me pop out of here, Chronicles of the Wasteland, right? He's releasing his 3rd issue over at the event, which is called Armageddon, which is on the Saturday and Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing. Is it Labor Weekend already? What is it? Auckland? Is it Auckland? I think it's Auckland City, kind of like they have like the city's holiday or something like that. So I think that's a long weekend. So that's on this weekend. So he is going up. Last night he goes, hey, it wasn't last night, it was like on Monday. He said, oh, we're going up, we've got a seat for you, pop in a couple of bucks and for Phil, and let's go. And I said, oh, I'm not sure, right? Because I've got Kickstarter coming up and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it. So I was like, let me get this sorted out. And that's why just last night when I had, yesterday afternoon or morning when I got up, it was like overnight when I sent it to a review, they reviewed it and said, yep, go for it. Within like it must have been a couple of hours. And so I go to bed, wake up, and it's already been like, yes, you can go ahead with the Kickstarter. And I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to this event, it'll be cool to have this Kickstarter already in play. And then I can like talk to people and go, hey, to my fellow New Zealand comic creators, as well as whoever wants to say, who the hell are you? And I can say, well, I'm doing this on Kickstarter right now, and be able to say, hey, and also my friend's over there and he's selling his comic book, go support him, right? And so on. So these are issue 1 and 2, right? Issue 1 and 2, and he did like about, I think he self-funded like about 100 comics each, and it's printed by NZ Comics here in New Zealand with a good friend, Jason Laney. And so he'll be at the New Zealand Comics store, table, whatever, right? And so if you're out there this weekend, please go check it out. We're only going to be there for 24 hours. I'm like, not one day, something like 9 till 9 or something, 9 till 6, and then flop back over because, I don't like staying anywhere. And plus, there's an extra cost when you stay somewhere. So we're just going to drive up early and do our thing and then come back. I'm hoping to get some interviews there. So, because as you know, I like to talk to, and I've done that since 2009. So this is not something new to me, interviewing people about comics. So I used to do that. I used to go along to that and go, okay, so tell us what you're doing and what it works, and and then do a blog about it with the videos and so on and interviews. I think the blog's still up somewhere. I have to check it out. Now, as I get off this, I'm going to go ahead and kickstart the thing. Just do a real quick look over just to make sure everything's perfect and all the numbers are right, because I don't want to be able to go and then I have to later on if you go check something. But I really, really appreciate you guys hanging out with me and for this whole process. I mean, we were supposed to kickstart this in February, but lost our colorist, then decided to do 3 languages, which meant 3 times the work. And, and then also got a new colorist and amazing work, as you saw. So thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Please do check out our page. Where is it? There it is. It's in chat. So it's basically Robot Nation TM. I looked at it, I was going, I should have sorted out earlier, because as soon as I went through the review, it was for the first one in February, it was already in there, so I could go back and change it. But yeah, so let's have a final look. And the other thing is there is a digital rewards. Oh, go back, save. Right. So when you go to rewards, you'll see there's a system reset. Is basically system reset means there was a black and white version, but this is the color version, right? So these are all New Zealand dollars. So it works out to be about $5 US, or just around about $4.55 US. And so that's the same thing I was saying about the currency, right? When you see it in 25 in New Zealand, that's only 15 US, right? And then when you go to here, it's about 17, because I hate to get, got a translator, more work done, right? And so forth. And so, yeah, so these are all New Zealand dollars. And so when you see it in your country, it should have your country's currency and amount. And now I'm just going to quickly go over to the add-ons, right? So you get the full color digital, and you get to see. And this is a page that we didn't show you guys, but just there's a little bit of, I don't want to give away too much with what we're putting out here. So you can see here, the colors, they're there. Let me put back up. Rewards, back onto that. Right. So you got a sticker to the TINHEADS, stickers, you got the mini poster, and you've got the full color digital. Now, everyone who backs our, all the print versions, you get a thank you. In the comic book, your name will be in there. That's something, that's, I just want to honor and, show gratitude for everybody who's backed that, backed our work. And so, everybody gets, thank you. And, even the system reset, right? You get a thank you. If you just put the digital, because we're just grateful for your support. And then you've got the full color comic print A. You can add that on if you want to get the foil, and you go, I want to add that on, and so on. Rise of Machines, of course, is the black and white one. So you get if you didn't want to go across and from Rising Sun and pay them, you could do it here directly. However, I think Kickstarter takes 30%, right, or whatever it is. So if you want the black and white digital, you can But I think the thing here was that we were going to do this and decided not to. So that's a good reminder here. That's supposed to be digital. I don't know why it's not putting digital. Yeah, unlimited. So yeah, that should be. Let me just go and edit that. Digital. This is what I mean. I was gonna not rushing into it, right? Launching it off in the game thing. Because yeah. Making sure going through it and making sure it's not wrong. Makes me find out, say, where's my black and white print cover? Of course, mention all the tiers, like the multiple tiers of sets and stuff, like all the the variant covers. The variant, you'll get stickers with it for free, right? You buy the comic and you get the stickers popped in there. And so the other thing is that some of them will come with like the beneath the skin lithograph as well, and this is what tells you the rewards you'll get on top of buying a cover, and then that's it. There where it was, right? So that's the black and white digital. Now I'm going to go across and delete that stupid one there. No, got doubled up. I think it's left over from the last one. Annoying. All right, and of course you can also add a signed and signed numbered card free from New Zealand, and this is for like certain tiers. All right, it's the items that we'll give you according to where we're at. All right, I think that's all of it covered, and I'm just going to probably take another 10 minutes, go over it quickly when you get off, and then pop that button and go live. Now, so I think the way, and this is only my second one, right? Second Kickstarter. The first one was like an all ages comic book, and this isn't an all ages comic book, right? Robot Nation isn't an all ages comic book. It's a mature comic book with mature content, and so, and the whole series is going to be like that, right? The whole series is a mature storyline. We're not trying, bait and switch on people. And so, because some of the stories upcoming, I know there's one story, I think in issue 2 is a backup. It's pretty full on. So I don't want to, I don't want to make, get to issue 2 and go, issue 3, right? And go, yeah, now we're going to go all out. It's like, it's mature content from the start. And that's why. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate people who check out our channel. If this is the first time that you're here and you're just going, what the hell is he on about? I'm a comic book creator from New Zealand. I started creating comic books in 2007. I did it for about 3 years. I started doing, I did 3 years of film. I did film school, and then I did like about 5 years of stage writing stories and like plays and stuff like that, making short videos and all that, skits. And then went to film school, did 3 years of film school, then came back and had a car accident. And so I had to re-switch to going from wanting to make films to tell my stories to being spending my days off work, basically, while limping around at work, then just spending 2 days at home just with a mouse, creating comic books, whatever. And then later on, just couldn't work anymore, couldn't stand long enough hours to be able to earn an income that way. And so was bedbound for about 2 years because of the injuries. And then later on, I went and finished off my degree in filmmaking. I had 2 credits, like 30 points, whatever. And then came back and thought, I still want to tell stories. So how do I do it? And so, got back and got in touch with Rising Sun because I was already creating my own stuff, and same name. My actual name means Rising Sun in English. And so, we're on Facebook, and then afterwards I had an accident again and was out of it all, forgot everything, came back to it in about 2019, and here where I am. So, loving it, working with so many amazing artists, so many great work that we're putting out. That's why people go, I've been around. It's just that like I had so many things go on and off, and because when I had my head injury, I forgot parts of my whole comic things, and so after changing medication and stuff, I was able to slowly get my memories back. I still have like blanks of things. I just don't. I blank out words. And I'm not trying to do a sob story. I'm just trying to tell you that I have been in comics for a while. It's just like I'm only just started, getting stuff out there because of all this shit that happened. Now, I do appreciate, like I said, I do appreciate you guys checking out the channel. The most important thing about this channel is all the amazing creatives that we get on that talk about the art form of creating the work. What inspired them? What led them to be dedicated to this? What made them love this thing that I love also so much? My whole freaking room is surrounded by it. I live in a studio apartment and there's hardly any room to move around in it. And even my friend goes, you should get rid of some stuff because, he knows I can't move around. Same with my family because there isn't much things. So I'm like a hoarder of comic books and stuff like to pop culture. So I love interviewing people with the similar mindset, right? That's what we connect on. We connect on comic books, right? We connect on this thing, our passion for that. And so I've made some amazing friends in the last 12 months, right? Since we started, since we put Incredible into the world, into the ether, right? And it's a all ages comic book. Now we're waiting on shipment for the cover A to arrive so we can put it on our website. All our backers got there, but now that we can get into shops and so on, so waiting for that. However, do check out the channel because the channel, like for me, is the best thing about it is talking to other creatives. It's where I socialize. It's where I get to hang out. It's where you guys get to see what everybody else in the independent scene, right? Like we say, people who are not working for some mainstream company, who are just out here creating their own work, documentarians, right? Musicians, right? Artists, writers, what else? Comedians, novelists, right? People who are just out there self-funding, just like Shane, right? Self-funding his own work, working a 9-to-5 job, going home and painting, and then when he's drawing up his art, his comic book, and then writing it and sending it off and paying for it and then getting it back and then out there, right? So that's sort of those are the people that I really enjoy hanging out and talking to. People who just who've shown that how much they love the medium, right? And just I can spend hours and hours talking to them because it's just such a cool thing to be able to see their influences, their inspirations, the work, the time they put in, how their journey so far. So if you are new to the channel and you are a creative, you're independent out here, thanks, dude. I really appreciate Nathaniel. And do check out Nathaniel's channel as well, man. He does. I always kind of look forward to saying, oh, what's he going to play today, right? He does vinyls. Yeah. So yeah, do check out our when we kick this off, and I'm just going to do a quick look over, and then boom, it's going to be there. Because like I said, I just didn't realize I doubled on this silly thing. Do check out the channel because I thoroughly think that more people need to see all the creatives that are there. So what I'm going to do is grab a link to one of our to this one here. So I did a conversation piece with another art creator, right, called Tom Hutchinson, and I'm just going to put that link there so you can check out that as an interview so you can see that. Now, that's it from me. Thank you for hanging out. Wherever you are, be well, be safe, and please support our, Wherever you are, be well, be safe, and please support our Robot Nation #1 standalone Volume 1 comic book. First issue. It's just, with 2 stories, written by me, created by me, with amazing artwork by people around the world. Interiors by Francesco Conte from Italy. Colors by Edwin Badillo from America. And a lot of beautiful, beautiful covers, variant covers by amazing artists, as well as stickers, pinups, cards. You'll love what you see. So thank you for checking out our page, and thank you for even considering looking at our Kickstarter. Thank you for backing it, and wherever you are, be well, be safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Ka kite ano. Appreciate all your time and effort for coming in and checking us out. Have a good time, guys. And as I always say, if you got a loved one close by, give them a hug and a kiss, and because you don't know who's going through what, and they might need that right now. And if you don't, use social media, use phone, use whichever way you want to connect with them. I usually just send out memes, music, artwork on my Facebook, on social media, just say, hey, have a laugh, have a good day. Hopefully this puts a smile on your face. So we'll get you in the next one. Thank you for hanging out. And if you like what we do, please give a subscribe and hit that like button, but also share. Right? We're out here creating, and we're out here promoting other creators. So have a good one. See you on the next one. Oh, Nathaniel, cheers, dude. Catch you soon. And everybody who hung out with us during this thing, and Hawk, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. And I know taking your time out of your day to come and hang out with us. Appreciate it. Bye for now.